What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So, I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, and this is making me sick to my stomach. This is fucking disgusting. So, Pacquiao, we know he's having tax trouble, aka money problems, because if you owe $18 million in taxes or whatever outrageous amount it is, that's a pretty steep bill. So, with that, it looks like they're making some egregious fights or attempting to at least throw it out there in the atmosphere to see how the public responds. So I'm going to respond. Fuck that. Mikey Garcia versus Pacquiao. Makes no sense. Mikey Garcia's last fight was at 130. And although he may be a little bit bigger than 130, like walking around weight, 17 pounds is ridiculous. So, I mean, I made a video about this. It doesn't really make sense. Now I'm hearing they're talking about making a fight with Pacquiao and Yorkis Gamboa because Timothy Bradley might be pricing himself out. Now, this is some bullshit. Gamboa is extra short. He also has been fighting at lower weight divisions, 135. And what is happening? Literally, what is happening with Pacquiao's handlers where Mikey Garcia and Yorkis Gamboa are potentially opponents for Pacquiao in the near future? Those motherfuckers should be fighting each other, not Pacquiao. I just don't understand it. And some of you goddamn fans have the gall to be upset that Mayweather might fight Khan, who at least won his last two fights, and he definitely has the frame to be a welterweight. The biggest thing why some people, including myself, don't like that fight is because there's other people in line, and Amir Khan is, in essence, cutting those people who deserve a welterweight payday with Mayweather more so than Mayweather, or excuse me, more so than Khan. That's the only reason I have a problem with Khan fighting Mayweather. But how can you be mad at Amir Khan fighting Mayweather and in the same breath be content with Yorkis Gamboa versus Pacquiao or Mikey Garcia versus Pacquiao? Is this really what it's come to? We have to dig up fights from far lower weight divisions. Now, it'd be one thing if this was couple years back in Pacquiao's career when he was fighting at the lower weights, but he's already established himself at welterweight. He's already taken on guys bigger than him. Cotto, Margarito, Josh Clottey, I would say, is bigger than him. And that's already a done deal. So to me, this is backtracking. This proves nothing. Let's say he beats Gamboa's ass and he beats Mikey Garcia. And what does that prove? He has everything to lose, but he doesn't really gain anything from beating him. Even if he fought like a Lucas Matisse, who's at 140, I would respect that more than Mikey Garcia or Yorkis Gamboa, just because beyond 135 or 130, they haven't proven that their power carries up to 140 at least. We know Lucas Matisse's power carries at 140. If you don't believe me, watch the Judah fight. Watch Devin Alexander. He knocked both of them guys down. Watch the Lamont Peterson fight. He knocked him out in 3. So it's getting utterly ridiculous. Like, you might as well. I live like 10 minutes away from the mall. Bob Arum, Top Rank. They might as well go to the fucking mall, hang out by Spencer's Gifts, and the third person go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. The third person to walk in that bitch gets a Pacquiao fight, because that's what it's coming to. It's just random names that they're trying to pit against Pacquiao. What happened to the Bradley rematch? What happened to Provatnikov? I'm okay with both of those fights. Now I'm hearing Guerrero, Garcia, Gamboa. I don't know if you have a G in your last name. My last name starts with a G, so maybe I should get the Pacquiao fight. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, I don't understand what the game plan is. And some of you Pactards, not just regular Pacquiao fans, but the diehard Pacquiao fans, are fucking fools. You are sitting here and trying to justify some of these fights. Robert Guerrero, at least he's established himself at welterweight. However, he's coming off of a loss. He lost his last fight. Before, when he fought Mayweather, it made more sense because people are trying to justify him coming off a loss and him fighting Mayweather. You can't compare the two. It's not apples and apples, it's apples and oranges. He hadn't lost in 7 years when he fought Mayweather. He had been calling Mayweather out on camera. Watch the Celtic Iden post fight. He was like, I want Mayweather. He was calling Mayweather. He was screaming Mayweather. He was the mandatory challenger. He had the interim belt. The fight made sense. So at the time Mayweather fought Guerrero, it made more sense. Guerrero had a credible win streak. He had 2 solid performances at welterweight, and he hadn't lost in a while, and he had an interim belt. After a loss, just because he might be able to weasel out of his contract doesn't mean the Pacquiao fight makes sense. He's still coming off of a loss. And I'm not talking about it's a bad fight, because from what I heard, Robert Guerrero sparred with Pacquiao on numerous occasions and given him fits. So I'm not talking about the quality of the competition. I'm talking about the mere fact that why is Pacquiao always fighting people off of losses or who haven't looked good in their last 2 or 3 fights or have had significant losses? Margarito, I think, was 1 fight removed from getting his brains rocked from Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley had already lost to Mayweather. Same with Ricky Hatton. That's what I'm talking about. So some of you people hate Mayweather, yet you hold him to a far different standard than you hold Pacquiao to. You're like, oh, Pacquiao, this makes sense for him. But if the same thing happened, like Lucas Matisse, perfect example. It's equivalent to Robert Garcia. Lucas Matisse at 140 was the interim champion. And he had a belt. And a lot of people were screaming, oh, Lucas Matisse, Floyd will never fight a guy like Lucas Matisse. He's scared because he seemed dangerous to you. And he packs a punch. We all know he packs a punch. A lot of people were saying Floyd is afraid of him and he's going to plow through Danny Garcia. When that didn't happen and he lost to Danny Garcia, then it was crickets, all quiet on the Western Front. Nobody really mentioned nobody really mentioned Mayweather versus Lucas Matisse. So if in his next fight, Floyd said, you know what, I'm fighting Lucas Matisse, the former interim champion, off a loss, you motherfuckers would be mad. You'd be like, oh, he's taking Danny Garcia's leftovers. He's fighting a bum. Now, when Pacquiao is fighting a former interim champion off of a loss, you're like justifying it. Oh, we want to see how convincingly he can beat Robert Guerrero and if he knocks him out. Listen, Robert Guerrero is a tough customer, and he's already had experience at welterweight. He was in against a puncher in Iden. He was in against an athletic fighter. He's fought and sparred Pacquiao before. Pacquiao hasn't had a knockout since 2009. That was a TKO versus Miguel Cotto. If he couldn't get Brandon Rios out of there, good luck getting Robert Guerrero out of there. Good fucking luck. I'm not saying it's impossible, yet they both have a chin, and Guerrero is a southpaw, and I think he's more of a thinker than Brandon Rios in there. I like Brandon Rios too, but I would say he's more of a thinker in there, and he has a hell of a chin himself. So good luck with that. But either way, you're making like splitting hairs trying to make bullshit justifications for one fighter to fight him, but not for the next. So if Timothy Bradley is quote unquote pricing himself out, you motherfuckers might just want to pay him what he deserves and make a more logical fight. Or the Ruslan-Provodnikov fight. Like I said, at least we've seen Ruslan one time at 147 and he gave Timothy Bradley problems. So I would even be okay with that, even though Pacquiao in that fight has more to lose than he does to gain, because Ruslan's a devastating puncher and it doesn't really gain much. Ruslan is not a champion at 147. He hasn't really made any noise other than the Bradley fight. And we all know that Bradley fought dumb in that fight. His own corner said that. So I think they should just pay Bradley whatever he's asking. He's undefeated. He looked better against Marquez, who gave Pacquiao problems in all 4 fights, instead of making these fake-ass fantasy matches. You ever, reminds me of like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. You ever play video games? And if you look at, I forgot his name, Mighty Mac or whatever the fuck his name is, the character you play on Nintendo's Punch-Out, and every single opponent is like huge. They're like a giant. He's like this midget. And that's kind of what Pacquiao, and I'm not saying Pacquiao's just a big-ass dude, but stop pulling people from lower ranks, like lower divisions. Like, that makes no sense, especially when they haven't done anything. at those higher weight divisions. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.